Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about a Reckless Flurry Skellige Witcher's deck that was made by Lerio of Team Legacy. Now, he posted this one in the Discord, I believe it was maybe at the beginning of the season, so it has aged well, and I've been playing this from rank 1 to pro rank, and I was able to get it this afternoon with some games that I recorded, so I thought I'd share it with you guys because this looks, feels, and is viable in my opinion. It's got great consistency, it's got tall removal, it's got wide punish, and it's got a lot of points, which is outside of a lot of the Skellige's normal. You don't see a lot of boosting decks with Skellige, with the exception to maybe the Druids, when you're playing an alchemy deck, but this one's a different approach, and we saw a little sneak peek of this type of gameplay during the Gwent Masters Season 1 finals. However, this is a little bit different given that we've had a patch since then. So let's go through the deck guide. We have Reckless Flurry, so on order, split 3 damage randomly between all enemy units, ignoring their armor with charges of 3. This helps us complete kills, it helps us to get Bloodthirst, and it's just really good for the control style of play that we have. Oniromancy is great for consistency. It's an echo card that allows us to play a card from the deck, meaning we'll get it twice, so we have the option to fish for 2 cards that we really need throughout the game. Non-devotion is obviously the way we went here. So we have Portal. Now Portal's really good. I believe we saw it first with Speci, bringing out the Fish Flappers. We have the Bear Witcher Adepts that are meant to come out with the Portal. Notice how these are our only 4 provision units, so we're guaranteed to pull those, and we're able to negate the heal effect. They'll just come out at a solid 7 points and start getting armor immediately, so it plays very well with this deck. They're Witchers, so it's going to add a Witcher tag to the whole Witcher deck we got going on. Karathi Heatwave, super important with the meta right now. If they're not playing Scenario, they're playing Greedy. We've seen a lot of greedy plays with Syndicate particularly, I think, is pretty greedy right now. Monsters is super greedy. Northern Realms has the potential to get pretty greedy right here. So we want to be able to just Heatwave a unit or just Heatwave a scenario, whatever the best case is. Masquerade Ball's back in action, so that's a really good Heatwave target as well. And we have Vesemir Mentor. It got a slight nerf, meaning the Adrenaline effect was taken from 5 down to 4, but it's still a great card. We could play it late first round ideally, or even as a final say later in the game, depending on the circumstances and how the game's going. But on deploy, boost all Witchers on the board by 1. With Adrenaline 4, you're also going to be able to boost them in your hand and deck, which is why I say we play it early on, right? Because the rest of the game we're going to be getting tall units that are doing well for us. So with that being said, it always gets its value, and it's a great card for this type of build. Now we have Geralt of Rivia. Like I said, it's one of those seasons, and when the meta is beginning to shape, we're starting to see what's going to stick and what's going to go away. Geralt's really good to have in times like this. Destroy an enemy unit with 9 or more power. If there's something they want to keep on the board, they're going to be boosting it. It could be as simple as they put down an engine with a TA, they put down something with a Crystal Skull, or even they just use a big boost card, right? Now, this is going to take it away. And for those super greedy plays, we're talking 20, 30 point plays. Well, Geralt's going to get extreme value here, so that's great. Madoc is in the deck. I posted a lot of Madoc oriented decks. However, this one isn't strictly Madoc. We're using it mainly as a deck thin. So you notice whenever you play a bomb, you summon the card from your field or graveyard to the allied row, and of course we can get the damage effect from the Cataclysm. Now, notice how we only have 3 bombs, right? It's not going to be a huge focus of the deck. The idea is maybe to play it, roll it out early, just get the thin out there, use a couple bombs, complete a couple kills, and move on. Or if you want some carryover, maybe you save 1 bomb for later, recycle a bomb later, right? Because we have 3, and then you can just kind of get that on the board later on. So it's nice to have. Now, Geralt Quen works very well, and you notice the theme of this deck. This is pulling cards, this is pulling cards, this is coming out from deck naturally, and we have Quen. So what we lack in big points, from engines and stuff like that, there's not a lot of engines, if any engines, in this deck. So what we're really benefiting from is that hyper thin approach, getting a lot of cards played during the game. So Geralt Quen can pull out whatever we need, at any given time. So if we're looking for Vesemir, late round 1, we could pull that out. If we're looking for Geralt, we could pull it out. You never want to pull out Madoc because we have the bomb for that. So leave that one alone. But again, we have Gerd, Leo, Berengar, right? Bear Witchers are great. especially if we want to avoid taking damage. You know, we can basically use the adrenaline effect of this by giving the unit a shield. So Geralt Quen's, I would say, auto included in a deck like this. It just makes a lot of sense. Let's get more cards played. And we have Kadoosh. So again, still tried and true, very strong. Often when you're going to see the games that I play, I'm going to be looking for the Quartermasters just because we have some really good cards that benefit from having a lot of units on our side of the board. So if the circumstance allows it, then I'll use a Bear Witcher Mentor. Most of the time it's going to be the Quartermaster, but again, some situations where I need to complete a kill, I might be looking for the Bear Witcher. Under no circumstance do you ever pull the Bear Witcher Adept. I don't think it's necessary. It doesn't really, like, we have the ones coming out of the portal, they're not damaging themselves, so just leave the Adept alone and stick with the other ones, and you can use your discretion, and also see when I've decided throughout the games that I have when it would be appropriate. Gerd is great. Swarm hasn't really been prominent this season. We haven't really been seeing as much of the Deadeye Ambush decks, haven't really been seeing as much of the Fire Swarm or even Arrakis Swarm. Arrakis Swarm was really big for the last few months, but we haven't been seeing it. However, this plays very well against like the Nilfgaard thin packages when they have a bunch of units on the row. There's a few different options, right? If we're playing in a mirror match, this could be good. Now, it's just always going to get at least its value, right? 8 power, 7 provision, and hopefully they have 3 or 4 units on the row at least. I like it. It's great, and I think it's something that should be included in the deck. Leo's a really big play. You have to be careful when you're playing against Syndicate or when you're playing against Nilfgaard for this one here. Nilfgaard's going to have your Yenvo, or it's going to have their potentially, I guess, Leo, their own Leo. They're going to have poisons, right? There's a lot of ways you can get around this. They put a status on it. They're going to use Vincent. They can lock it. They can use Venomar, right? There's a lot of problems for this card. It's a super greedy card. It's one of our big win cons here, if you think about it, when we're playing against some of the big boosty decks. However, don't value it too much. In the games where you know it's probably going to get removed, play it for a decent value. Maybe it's not going to be the best target for them, right? So don't always hold it till the last available minute. Now, Berenger's good for point swing. I like to position this card as something, if I don't have proactivity, maybe you just pull it with the Quen. Or also you want to kind of just stay ahead and around, or try to defend a bleed or something like that, or even just try to bleed them. It's a really good card for that. It's not much of a finisher because it doesn't do anything. However, 9 points for 6 provision is really good. It does have the condition that it'll destroy itself if it's the only one in the row, so you got to be careful about that. You want to put it beside, obviously, a row full of Witchers. More the better. Now, of course, we mentioned the bombs. Purified, damage by 4. This is our way of getting around the defender, right? So save this one for when it's important. We'll purify defender or something like that. Worst case, we could take out a 4 provision unit or 4 power unit if we need to, but most often you'll see me holding on to that for the defender. Now, Bear Witchers are just good since they've come out, and they're going to remain good for some time, I'm sure. Deploy, damage self by 3. We want to use this as adrenaline, so damage self and enemy unit by 3 instead. Now, these are really good for getting Bloodthirst on our side, for the Mentor, or just helping us complete kills on their side. So you definitely want to have them. We have 2, so we don't always need the one from Kadoosh, but it's nice to have the option. And Bear Witcher Mentors, like our second greediest play. We have the whole board full of units that are damaged. If they're playing Devotion, this is great. Now, it might see removal, so maybe you play it in round 1 if you're trying to win on even kind of thing. It's really good. It forces them to use a tall removal early, and we don't mind because we're defending card. It works pretty well. So with that being said, deploy boost self by 1 for every damaged ally unit. Adrenaline 3, boost self by 1 for every damaged unit. So again, really easy to get damage on either side of the board. This is going to help with our Swarm, the Bear Witcher Quartermaster. It has Zeal now, so it got a little bit of a buff from before, so it's certainly more playable. Damage an allied unit by 1, then spawn a Witcher student on this row with 2 charges. So Witcher student's a token with 2 power. So this 5 provision card gets 8 points always. Now you say, well, what are we going to damage of our own? We can actually just put the damage into the Madoc before we get rid of it, so we're not losing value on our own side if we want. We could, hit the Geralt Quen shield. We can ideally just hit off the Adept's armor. So there's a lot of ways that we could prevent us from getting damage on that, so we're not losing points. Another alternative would be if I'm playing two of these, well, this one has armor, so you could ping off that armor with the second one. A lot of good ideas for that. Dimeridium Bomb's just good. It fills the 4 provision gap really well. We see a lot of like Nausicaa Sergeants and tax makers and all those types of cards, so those easy to kill 4 power cards is great. Now armor up, again, it's for the swarm. This is like the only deck I'd probably play this card in if you're doing something like this. Damage an enemy unit by 2 and spawn 3 students on the opposite row, so meaning our side of the playing field, if we hit a melee, we're going to be spawning on melee. Now we give them all armor, we damage them all by 1, so they're going to have 3 damage units on our side, which is going to be tons of bodies for the mentor. And like I said, if the situation's good, you can even get a second one off the Gadoosh. And we have tons of bodies for Leo, so it works very well. And again, tons of bodies for Vesemir, right? We're boosting them all by 1 later, so we're getting that point back. So it's really good in this instance, but I wouldn't value them too high. There's so many different ways to get tokens on our side, which leads me into the next card. And this Megascope, honestly, I think changed the game quite a bit. It's a 4 provision card. It doesn't appear like much, but it has so much good play. Every faction can pretty well benefit from this. I've seen a lot of play with this with monsters. I think one of the best uses for it is Skellige, because you have cards like Greatsword, you have cards like Bear Witcher, sheer point slams. You're always getting like at least 8 power for, 4 provision, which is great. Most of the time, you're going to see me looking for the Quartermaster, right? Because we want to get more bodies on our playing field. So what is 8 points? What is just getting a Bear Witcher when we can literally get a Bear Witcher Quartermaster, which is 9 points net, and we're getting 3 bodies on the playing field. So keep that in mind. It's really important to use these correctly. However, you don't want to be holding too many of them because it's a very slow play. It doesn't kick in for 2 turns, and we can't use the order of the Bear Witcher Quartermaster until the 3rd turn. So be mindful of that. I don't like to have one in hand, like more than 1 in hand per round. So you want to kind of just maybe play 1 per round kind of thing. And if you're bleeding, I wouldn't necessarily recommend bleeding. I like 1 in round 1, maybe 1 in round 3, but ideally 1 per game is just fine. So 2 of them are there. Whoops. I'll put that back in a sec. 2 of them are in there, but it's not a big deal. Now, with the Bear Witcher Adepts, we talked about it. They come out at 7 points. They're more or less the meat shield. We're going to be taking pings off our own units. This won't lose power. A lot of enemies want to destroy these and try to do some damage to it, but you got to kill it in 1 shot because this is going to start healing itself, right? So it's awesome to have, and I'm a super big fan of this. Now, I recorded a lot of games. I don't want to see how many I can include for you guys. There's probably like 5 or 6 of them. Maybe we pick the best 3. Maybe I just throw them all in. I'm not sure. I haven't decided at this point, but take a look at it. There's a lot of different common matchups that we're going to be playing, and you could see how this competes, when to push, when not to push, how to defend a bleed, how to bleed, and all that type of stuff. And if you like the deck, drop a like. Obviously, I want to make Lerio proud. He'd be happy to see that I'm showcasing his deck. I don't know if it's like one of his tryhard decks, but it's definitely working for me, and I'm happy to be playing it, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. And if you want to support the channel too, don't forget to subscribe. We've hit 420 subs. I'm hoping to get to 500 to celebrate, I guess, the 9th month, give or take, of making content, so show some love if you can with that. And with that being said, we'll see you guys next time. I have another deck that I'm going to be doing a video for, and that'll be coming up shortly in the next day or 2. So stick around, and we'll see you soon.
I will not let this become a second Sodden.
In this world, only 2 things are certain. I'll be a household name before long.
Evil's not going anywhere. Send as many lackeys as you like. I'll set them all back in pieces.
Never thought I'd look so damn fencing and feathers. I hate portals.
Strength matters not if you lack the skill to wield it.
The flames of righteousness do not scorch the innocent!
Not much left of that world.
Well, we've not had enough.
To arms, men!
Nice project. Again.
You ought to see the other beast.
No, the pendulum. I'm much better at that.
I'm no beggar. I'm an artist.
Watch yourselves. You'll never be safe.
I'll cleave you into.
Go ahead. Stare at me stump again, see what happens.
Likes my guts more than a filthy bitch.
Gotta dodge! Gotta have the... Doing it faster. The windmiller hit me. Hard. No, I did the pendulum. I'm much better at that.
Abhorrent monstrosities, inconceivably grotesque!
One more time. Now, try throwing 3.
Angusta and Augusta.
We do what must be done.
Come to me, little one.
Gotcha! No, no, damn it!
Tis my truth. I was born, and I shall die with it.
The windmill. The sticks spin around and smash it.
Splendid crops this year, and ever they shall be. Leave it to me.
Gotta be quick. Gotta dodge. Gotta have the...
Nice punching. Again. The soil is fertile with magic, and dead to one.
Go ahead. Stare at me stump again, see what happens.
No, do the pendulum. I'm much better at that.
Whirling my beauty. Reach high
gonna do, huh?
Ugh, stop gurgling like that.
Get my apple, you'll not leave Bracken.
Of another
Not
world.
alive at any rate.
Take care of your blades, and they'll take care of you.
We do what must be done.
I'd lend you a hand, but then I'll have more.
Why don't train on the cone? I hate it. If you're not fast enough, the windmill will hit you. Hard.
Not your lucky day.
The only good human is a dead human.
Essaya Darien and Dolgethan.
One more time. Now, try throwing 3.
There'll be nothing to pick up when I'm done with you.
This is a fine vintage of old meat.
Let me go inside now.
Everyone has their secrets. Everyone.
You ought to see the other beast.
Move faster. The windmill had hit them hard.
How's this for Nightshade?
Let's punch it again.
Go ahead. Stare at me stump again, see what happens.
do, eh? Shoot him down, stab him dead. Easier that way. Drinking can be hazardous to your health.
I'd lend you a hand, but then I'd have none.
If you're not fast enough, the windmill will hit you. Hard.
I shall flog them into submission.
My, the Van Moorlands, they truly spoil us.
Damn it. Barbarians all. Gloire! Too old for this shit. Aroma, I'm dizzy with the lights. Call one of the two sides, the rest will fall in place. My mentor's recipe says cut the apples like so!
Have I something in my tea?
These I invade. These I sign a treaty with.
All that dancing around. It's not for me.
You crossed the wrong sorceress.
I'd lend you a hand, but then I'd have none.
No, with the pendulum. I'm much better at that.
No good wine will come from you, not even compost.
You've got to be quick. You've got to dodge. You've got to have the...
Don't ask a lady her age. It's unbecoming.
My duty? To stick my nose where it doesn't belong.
You ought to see the other beast.
No, with the pendulum. I'm much better at that.
My rule will be strong, my rule will be righteous.
No, oh no, no, no. You can't just sacrifice it.
Kill the dog diddlers!
An interesting
Strength matters
choice.
not if you lack the skill to wield it.
Go ahead. Stare at me stump again, see what happens.
Beaters forward! Let the hunt begin.
I'm too old for this shit.
Arsenic or nightshade?
The windmill. Its sticks spin around and smash.
Bloody Gwent.
Scavenger's recipe says, cut the apples like so!